The group of 24 participants was dead quiet, but not in a bad way, not at all. They were absorbed in a short article that I'd given them to read. 20 minutes had passed, and I could tell that about 80% of the group was finished. People were shuffling their papers, looking around, unsure what to do next. Actually, at the start of the session, I had already told them what to do next. After reading the article, have a team dialogue about the article. But passive members from a collectivist culture are almost always slow to get started. I knew this, so I was waiting for some courageous member to ask the other members if they were all finished and ready to begin discussing the article together. Taro, the HR support staff who's supporting my program, could also sense the same nervous atmosphere that I was feeling. Abruptly, Taro broke the silence and gave instructions. Hey everyone, if you already finished, why don't you go through the article again and write down any questions you had and maybe highlight any points you wanted to talk about. It was like watching a baby try to take its first steps, only to have mom rush in to hold the baby steady. The baby was about to walk on her own. I've worked with quiet teams for decades and knew what would have happened if Taro hadn't taken control too soon. The group would have looked around, gathered their courage, began speaking quietly, then get more and more animated as they got into an interesting discussion. Now they were following instructions instead of thinking on their own, and a very important developmental opportunity had been lost. Worse, there was no way for Taro to know that helping them had stolen their motivation. Whenever Taro sensed that people were hesitant or confused, he saw that as a cue to take control, to help them. But it would have been 1,000 times better for Taro to see that uncomfortable atmosphere as a cue to not help. In my next video series, we're going to dive into a very interesting topic: how to purposefully not help quiet teams so they can learn to help themselves. This series will look at how passive, quiet teams are unintentionally impacted by the helpful actions of HR, trainers, leaders, and company systems. I'll show you how to build teams that are less reliant on external control so that everyone can spend more time on meaningful business outcomes instead of trying to control things that really shouldn't be controlled. If you have any questions you would like addressed in this series, please post those in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.